So let me just say right off the bat, if you like Konosuba and you like Dr. Stone and you have even a remote interest in the ocean, this show is for you. Yo, it's Dono, and recently I went over to a friend's house. I stayed the night over there. We made some cool food, we played some video games, but most importantly, we watched some pretty fantastic anime. Now let me just say right off the bat, I have seen Konosuba 4 times minimum. I've had it playing in the background when I like do homework or do other things like work on thumbnails, work on social media stuff, whatever that I'm working on. Konosuba is one of my go-to background noise show anime things, and I've probably gone through it probably like another 4 times. And while I'm sure there are a ton of other fantastic comedy anime out there, I haven't seen them, and Konosuba has just been the amazing, only comedic wonder of the anime world. Until I was introduced to Gurren Blue. Now, am I 2 years late for this? Yes I am. Do I care? No, because I'm sitting here and talking to you about it. Now back to what I was saying about going and staying over at my friend's place. He was like, hey, there's a show that I started and it's really funny and it's great and you gotta watch it. I'm like, you know, whatever. It's probably good, but like, I've got other stuff I'm watching right now. He's like, no, you've gotta watch the show. Like, this show is good. It's there. It's it. And I'm like, you know, alright man, like, cool, sure. He's like, no, dude, trust me, this is it. Even Garlic Bread enjoyed it and was laughing and thought it was fantastic. So if I hear that this man who doesn't like talking about the fact that he watches anime is enjoying and is laughing and thinks the show is amazing, I'm automatically like, alright. First episode, let's go right now, let's watch it. So the story is about this guy who comes to live with his uncle at this diving shop, and he goes to college nearby and they actually have a diving club. So he gets roped into this diving club, which in reality isn't really all that about, like this entire show is supposed to be about diving in this diving club. Heck, the name of the dang show is called Gurren Blue, right? Like the ocean kind of a thing. I kid you not, it is 10-15% diving and the rest is just comedy gold, alright? And for some reason, like, the reoccurring thing within the show isn't diving, isn't, you know, the college life, it's just everybody gets flat out wasted and just naked. I don't know why, but it's freaking funny. And when I say that it's mostly about comedy as opposed to like the 10 to 15% diving, it's because that it's true. It's mostly in between different dives or in between classes or just the actual college life and college experience as opposed to just focusing on diving and the different aspects that go along with it. Earlier I mentioned Konosuba because it reminded me of that level of comedy, that level of just hilarity that it's hard to put into words. Not to mention this show's art style is fantastic. Think of Dr. Stone and the kind of like comedic, funny, quirky moments where they have all of like the super dramatic and like overly drawn and stylized faces. It's just, it brings both of those elements together and just has a God-forgiven, I don't know, child of some sort. Basically what I'm trying to say is it takes elements from a lot of different good comedic series and puts it into one. It not only differs from a lot of different anime because it takes place in college, which, yes, of course, there are other anime that take place in college and even in the workplace, but for the most part, it's a bunch of high school kids, okay? So it's nice to see, you know, my level, my age group of anime characters now, which, of course, I just got out of high school, so it's not anything crazy, but it's like, hey, college kids doing college kids thing, and I can kind of live vicariously through them because I sit at home and I do online classes every day. So, yeah, let's not unpack that in this video. You see the characters go to, like, mixers, and they go to parties and they do all these other interesting things. They have school festivals, etc., which, you know, sounds kind of basic, but it's still interesting to watch as opposed to let's go with the water again, you know, like that would be kind of stale, but they make it work. They make it fit and it's just it's beautiful. It's a glorious thing. But because it's in a college setting, it also feels more realistic because in high school, it's like, oh yeah, these high schools are running away together and they're like, you know, staying in hotel rooms like that. No. That seems sketchy and very unrealistic. All right. But in college, you know, that's a little more believable, if you will. Like that seems like it's more likely that it could happen, you know, and the relationships also seem more genuine in a sense. But overall, the show seems a little more mature, which is a nice shake-up, a nice little getaway from the typical high school stuff. And don't get me wrong, the high school stuff is usually pretty dang cool, but you know, I want something different every once in a while. But aside from the comedy and whatnot, it actually has gotten me interested in diving. Like, scuba diving is something I never thought that I would be. I mean, I've been interested in it, but it's not something I would have legitimately sat down and thought about, like, hey, I kind of want to go and scuba dive, you know? It's just, you see it on TV or you see them at an aquarium and it's like, oh, you know, that's cool. But after watching the show, I'm like genuinely interested in the activity. It even goes into details about getting a diving license and like using different hand signals underwater and like pressure and all these other like obscure things that you'd have to know about diving, but it fits into the show perfectly, even though it's mainly comedic. Is there anything else I can cover about this? I'm probably, it might be a little choppy, and I apologize in advance. I'm kind of just talking about the show because it was great. I'm not trying to be like too professional, if you will, but yeah, it was a legit show. You should definitely give it a watch. I even remember saying to said friend when we were watching it originally, like, this is what happens when you have a fat budget and passionate animators, because it comes together so well. And if nothing else convinces you to watch the show, check this out.
じゃあ俺も
お前は終電とか関係ないだろ家はここだもんな。
いや明日の9時から初日のガイダンスですから。
絶対に遅刻しないようにしてやる。
頭が痛い。何時だ？遅刻寸前じゃん。
な、これなら絶対に遅刻しないだろう。
The show is freaking hilarious, it's fantastic, it's beautifully animated, it's called Gurren Blue. Go give it a watch. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.